Many people ask, why the hell would you spend over $10,000 on a life-size statue of Iron Man from the MCU? Well, I would retort, because I fucking can. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the Extreme Channel. If this is your first time here, I love extreme stuff like this life-size Mark 85 Iron Man by Queen Studios. So before I go any further, I want to apologize for the sound and lighting. This is not where I normally film high-end collectibles. But as you can imagine, this 800-pound statue on my review table is not something I can do. But we're still going to do a review today. And if you're a follower of the channel, and you're not a moron, you can see that I have more than one MCU life-size statue. So if you're unfamiliar with all that, MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It rebooted with Iron Man 1, with Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, and until his, spoiler alert, death in Endgame, which he's now been reincarnated to Doom, which is a little weird, we saw 85 different iterations of his Iron Man suit. This is the final one. Now, as a reminder, I also own his 7th one, which we first saw at the end of the first Avengers movie. So it's kind of poetic for me. I have the one he was wearing at the end of Avengers 1 and the one he was wearing at the end of the final Avengers movie. So this is made by Queen Studios. Obviously, it's life-size. And we're not only going to review this today. However, in the future, I'm going to do a compare and contrast video, an Extreme Rumble, where we look at this one compared to the Mark 7 from my other video. So make sure you've not only liked this video, but you've subbed to the channel and hit that bell notification so you don't miss that. In the meantime, let's jump into the review of the Queen Studios Mark 85. So as a reminder, this isn't a traditional suit. This is actually nanotech, which from an oversimplification part is tiny little microbial robots that actually create things around his body. And he moved to this in Avengers Infinity War with the Mark 50. So it's not an actual suit that he would get into, which kind of defeats my whole setup here. I wanted to have all these giant suits. But it's okay, as collectors we come up with crazy justifications. So as I said, in Avengers Endgame, this was his final suit in the final battle. It's what he actually died wearing. And it's one of my favorite suits, mainly due to the aesthetics and how it looks. And I think Queen Studios did a nice job bringing this to life in this life-size statue. So first, let's talk about the concept. Concept with life-size statues is kind of boring sometimes because you don't really want to have them in a totally dynamic action pose. It's not like we can make this fly, or if he had his arm up, it would actually be kind of confusing to me. I like them more in this static museum type pose. In fact, my favorite suit is Queen Studios Mark 6 right here. And I didn't buy that one because he's doing this weird runway walking pose that I hated. Where this guy is more stagnant, so let's look at it. First, the base is very similar to all their other life-size statues. One thing I hate is they put the name of the movie it's from on the beginning. I don't need that. I know you're trying to museum it up, but I think it looks stupid. It also looks low quality, just like all the other ones. On the top of the base, I do like it. They have the arc reactor symbol. That's kind of neat, and a light-up feature we're going to talk about. But then moving up, he's very stoic. Now, he's very museum style, like I said. You have a very shiny garb on this, a lot shinier than the Mark 7. Again, I'm going to try not to compare and contrast them too much. But as you move towards the top, you see the arc reactor, you see little light-ups throughout. His fists are closed like it's a suit ready to go. And then his head is slightly tilted to the right, which I do not like. It should be facing forward. It should be facing the same way as the nameplate. I think that's a little bit miss on it, but to me, that's more of a design thing. When you talk about life-size statues, as far as conceptual, I want a cool light-up base, and I want a static museum pose, and I want it to look awesome. I think it does. I think it's a 4 out of 5. I'm taking points off for the stupid nameplate on the front. Not only that they have it, but it looks dumb as well. Design. They did a lot of great stuff with design, but one horrible thing. Before we dive into that, here is the unboxing and assembly. Now, these are always freight deliveries because they are so big. They create this outer container, which is kind of cool, and it's obviously reusable. When you take the lid off, you see a bunch of foam in the plaque we're going to look at. And then one layer deep is Iron Man, and then below that is the actual base. Once we got the base out, we actually made a stencil for where his foot goes in because it's such a heavy statue and you have to insert it perfectly. Check it out. So just like all life-size pieces with Queen Studios and some non-life-size, it comes with this plaque right here. So it tells you that you're a VIP customer because you're stupid enough to spend over $10,000, and it has your name on it, and it has where the statue is from. So kind of cool. You see I have mine actually all lined up right behind here in this window well. So with the assembly, really quick, what I really liked about it, it was both a blessing and a curse, is it was only 3 pieces: the base, the head, and the arms. The negative part to that is how difficult it was to assemble. So when you're lifting him, you don't want to lift him by the end of the legs, you don't want to lift him by the arms, you want to lift him by somewhere in the upper thighs or the torso. The problem with that, as you saw during the assembly, the arms get in the way. So it would have been really convenient if the arms detached to assemble him, because he's very heavy and you have to get him directly on the peg without breaking it. Now, the reason you want to get him directly on the peg without breaking it is simply for the fact of one of the great things they did about this, and that's the light up feature. So a lot of Queen Studios Iron Man pieces, they have separate light up features everywhere. So you'd have to take apart the wrist here and turn on a button with batteries. This is all connected to the AC adapter. I think that's a phenomenal feature. The AC adapter and a button on the back, and everything lights up from the head, the base, the arc reactor in the middle. Huge props to them for that. I think that's a fantastic thing with the design. And while I love that part of it, I hate how much his head is facing that way. It doesn't look like it a lot because I actually have the base twisted this way slightly. So again, it's kind of like if I was standing here straight, I'd be looking off this way. I think that's just dumb. What was the point of that? He should be looking straight on. So with that design, I'm a little back and forth. Like I said, I love that the light up feature is all connected. A lot of props for them on that. But I hate how he's turned. I hate how hard he was to assemble. They should have made the arms detachable. Try and measure him. However, for exact dimensions, check out Spec Fiction's website. That's where I got him from. There's a link in the description below on where to buy statues. So the width of his arms, that's probably the widest part of Iron Man himself, is about 32 inches. The base has a diameter of about 40. Iron Man himself, so this is without the base, is about 78 inches. And then the base is going to add probably about 6 or 7. So extremely big piece.
Hey, that's what she said.
Now, one thing about the size of this, too, I'm a little questionable because obviously we can look up how tall Tony Stark is or how tall Robert Downey Jr. is, but we don't know how tall the suit is around him. And another interesting part that you'll see in the comparison video, this suit is a different size than the Mark 7. Well, which is accurate? One was a real suit, one was nanotech, so who's to say? So I really can't judge that or say anything else on it. I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the design, though. So I do appreciate, like I said, the light up feature is fantastic. I have it hooked up to my phone, as I do with all my lights. So very, very cool on that. Now I'm going to do some video of some close-up paint and sculpt. As a spoiler, the base is very similar to the other bases, so it's okay. But he is awesome. Check it out. So I turned off the light up feature for this part because it still looks great without, but even better with the light up feature. So again, there's just some close-up video of the cheap nameplate I was talking about. And the base itself, the outer edges, like I said, almost have a little bit of a plastic feel. But obviously, you're not really going for the base. And technically, I didn't talk about this, you could display it without the base. You wouldn't be able to light it up, but the feet are flat. Very similar to the Spider-Man base over here. But when you get on here, first I want to look at 2 things. First, the colors. They look absolutely fantastic. It's that hot rod red gleam that just looks amazing no matter what type of light you have on it. I think that looks great. And then the gold is not too... one of the things I always hated about Iron Man in the comics is sometimes the gold was too shiny. I think this is the perfect amount. And then laced in with that gray, it's not really a silver, but a gray, I think looks really good. And then I love the intricacy of this. So remember, this is like nanotech that builds on itself, and you can kind of see that. Like, look at these ridges and the ribs. We'll look at the arc reactor in a second here. The gauntlets on the hands. You do see a few of my fingerprints on there, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Great portrait. And all the intricate detail in the neck is pretty cool. So the arc reactor, we'll take a look at that. So now the light is turned off, but it still looks great in my opinion. Obviously it looks much better with the light. But I'm a big fan. I think they did an amazing job on both the paint and sculpt here. It's funny, you could sit here and stare at the same thing over and over, but really there's not a lot of variation for me to narrate. It's kind of the same thing over and over, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It looks fantastic. Paint, in my opinion on this piece, is a 5 out of 5. I really like it. I really like that shine. It makes me almost wish the other Iron Man was a little shinier. Sculpt, again, I think it's spot on. This looks absolutely fantastic. I think that is also a 5 out of 5. Very happy with that. Now, one thing about the size of this, too, I'm a little questionable because obviously we can look up how tall Tony Stark is or how tall Robert Downey Jr. is, but we don't know how tall the suit is around him. And another interesting part that you'll see in the comparison video, this suit is a different size than the Mark 7. Well, which is accurate? One was a real suit, one was nanotech, so who's to say? So I really can't judge that or say anything else on it. So is this worth it? Of course it's not. You know, when we talk about value, first of all, this is very rare. They made 129 of these. Usually they make 99, they made 129, so I'm guessing the demand was a little bit higher for this suit. And all in, you're about $13,000 retail with shipping, approximately. It varies from distributor to distributor. But with retail and where you have it shipped to, it's about $13,000. Clearly, that's not worth it. Reselling this is almost impossible. Storing the box is very hard to do. You saw that huge box, unless you have a warehouse or a storage unit. So the value on this, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say is probably 2 out of 5. Unfortunately, I don't think I could ever make my money back if I wanted to sell it, especially knowing that this character is dead in the MCU. Again, spoiler alert. So that's the problem with buying movie pieces as well as opposed to comic pieces. So does he have the X factor? Is he a 5 out of 5 statue overall? Yes, I just spit if you caught that on camera. Yes, he is. He is awesome. He's everything I wanted. I know you can't see it right now, but 3 life-size MCU statues all lined up look amazing. If you want to see what they look like, check out the Extreme Channel social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. The link for that is in the description below. But very cool piece. Huge shout out to Spec Fiction. I really appreciate them. Awesome customer service. Make sure to check them out. There's a link for that in the description as well. But what do you guys think? Is it worth it if you had the money? Throw that down in the comments below. I'm going to assume most of you are going to say yes, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. And I ask you to comment because every comment enters you into a contest where you can actually win a statue. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, check out Spec Fiction. But if you like stuff like this, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the comparison video between the Mark 85 and the Mark 7. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.